Welcome to the weekend. And while you're out having fun, world leaders are out making news. Newscene8 has 3 of New Orleans' top professionals bringing it all home to you. Ken Watts, Mike Herrera, and Ken Berthelot. From Algiers to Algeria, inside or out, Newscene8's there to cover whatever's happening this weekend. Stay with Newscene8 every day, because reporting the news is more than just a weekday affair.
The former American hostages home at last. And here in New Orleans, the Oakland Raiders win Super Bowl 15. Newscene8 is next.
Watch for those fabulous flatfoots, weekdays at 5:30.
Newscene8 with Ken Watts, Mike Herrera, and Ken Berthelot.
Good evening. Amid cheering crowds, waving flags, and plenty of yellow ribbons, the former American hostages came home today. Right now, the 52 Americans are reunited at last with their families at West Point, New York.
Freedom 1 touched down at Stewart Airport about 11 hours after leaving West Germany. Military police kept reporters and television crews away from the terminal. From a vantage point, they could see the former hostages come off the plane to greet about 140 relatives at the edge of the runway. Later, they entered a hangar and met for almost an hour before boarding buses for a 17-mile ride through streets and roadways decorated with flags and ribbons. People lined the route to welcome the reunited families. In Highland Falls, at one edge of the hotel, people began assembling around noon to catch a glimpse of the families. Among them, enterprising salesmen offering flags, buttons, and ribbons for sale. But some items were free. Children and parents climbed aboard a motorized train. As the motorcade approached, bystanders crowded to the edge of barricades. A yellow reminder that despite the aura of circus that was beginning to emerge, the reunited families had come for another reason, to be alone, together. Then they entered the Thayer Hotel and police sealed it off behind them for 2 days of privacy, their first as families in the 449 days since the Americans were taken hostage. John Martin, ABC News, West Point, New York.
Well, reporters were able to get close to the former hostages earlier today before they left Wiesbaden, West Germany. And as Bob Dyke reports, it was an emotional scene.
Sunday morning at last. Time to go home. After 4 days of testing and resting, Robert Blucher, clutching a tiny symbol of liberty, was first down the steps of the U.S. Air Force Hospital here in Wiesbaden. It was well below freezing, but Barry Rosen, in a T-shirt, seemed oblivious to the weather. Then came the Marines. Gallegos, Hermaning, Lopez, Mueller, and the others, sharp, disciplined, showing no signs of the ordeal that they and their fellow former hostages went through in the past 14 and a half months. Colonel Thomas Schaefer, former military attaché in Tehran. Bruce Langan, former chargé d'affaires. There were about 300 spectators and newsmen. Their shouts and shuffling all but drowning out a weak but heartfelt chorus of God Bless America as the last of the 52 returnees boarded their buses for Frankfurt's Rhein-Main Airport. As the rest settled down for the short ride, Jerry Plotkin shouted in farewell, "You people have been beautiful to us. We love you." On banners from the balcony and on the faces of the hospital staff was written their reply. God bless you. Auf Wiedersehen. Bob Dyke, ABC News, Wiesbaden.
The 52 returnees will spend 2 days in seclusion with their families at West Point, and on Tuesday they'll get an official welcome from President Reagan at the White House. Here at home, the genuine New Orleans happening known as Super Bowl 15 is now history. The Oakland Raiders are the new champions of pro football, and as Joe Duke reports, New Orleans entrepreneurs were making money all the way down to the last minute.
The high rollers arrived in jets. They stayed downtown, rode in limousines, went to garish extravaganzas, tipped big, and used 80 miles of toilet tissue at the Hyatt alone. But it only happens once a year, and it's the social event of the season. The game is just a part of it. Baron Hilton was here, and the Jimmy Stewarts, Doc Severinsen, and Burt Reynolds. These are the low rollers. These are the fans. They drove 28 hours straight from Philly, 11 of them in a camper. They got speeding tickets. They slept in a warehouse, ate burned meat and soft pretzels, and got drunk just about every night.
Lost my voice on Bourbon Street.
Pretty tough work, huh?
It's tough work. It's worse than working. You said 20-hour shifts or murder.
This was the toughest we've ever prepared for a game.
Yeah, what was
that?
Training.
This is the toughest we ever prepared for a game.
How did you prepare?
Tough work. Hard, every day, full at it 24 hours a day. It's really tough.
To tailgaters, wine in the Winnebago parking lot is the closest thing to tea in the jungle. And with spaghetti, it's a little touch of civilization amid the heathens. There were plenty of tickets. Some were bargains, others were not. These people paid less than they expected, about $50 each for $40 seats. But another seller wouldn't take $80 for one ticket. There was plenty of money to be made.
Programs here! Get your programs!
11-year-old Frankie Mayer was making it, and Mitch Morgan. Money is, after all, what it's all about. And it was the last time some people had to spend it, and the last time others could make it. The football players themselves arrived knowing they would make it no matter what happened. But Big Twos wasn't thinking of bucks. He was thinking of eagles. Here in New Orleans, they'll be counting the fans and the proceeds for weeks. But tomorrow, Super Bowl 15, like Super Bowl 12, will just be another old poster. Joe Duke, Newscene 8.
Ken Berthelot will have all the details of Super Bowl 15 later in sports. Coming up next, an explosion in Gentilly, and Newscene 8 continues. Well, New Orleans police have a man in custody tonight who reportedly crashed into a patrol car. Police on the scene say the man was driving a van that hit an off-duty patrolman's car from the rear, pushing it some 50 feet. The man in the van allegedly tried to make a getaway, but the off-duty policeman managed to capture him. The names of the officer and the suspect are unavailable. The officer is believed to have suffered a back injury. A Gentilly woman remains in critical condition tonight after her house was leveled by an early morning explosion. The blast, caused by a natural gas leak, heavily damaged 2 adjacent houses and blew out windows in nearby homes. 70-year-old Imelda Salinger suffered second-degree burns over most of her body. Elsewhere, a Lafayette man is dead tonight following a mysterious stabbing incident on the moonwalk this morning. Donald Fall and his girlfriend were strolling on the moonwalk when an unidentified man attacked Fall. Fall's girlfriend managed to get away and flag down a nearby police officer. The assailant fled, and Fall was pronounced dead at the scene with several stab wounds. Police have no motive for the stabbing. Well, a visitor couldn't ask for any more beautiful weather than what we had today.
Gorgeous weather. Our weather's going to change. We'll be getting back to seasonably cool temperatures in the middle of the week, but we're coming off just a fine weekend.
Great while it lasted.
Here are high temperatures from around the area today. Our temperatures have been unseasonably warm, but no complaints. We've had beautiful weather for this Super Bowl weekend. Our high temperature at Audubon Park today got up to 70 degrees. This is the first time since Christmas Eve, first time in a month that our temperature in downtown New Orleans has been over 70 degrees. And for 2/3 of the days in that month, the temperature didn't even get out of the 50s. We were well below seasonal normal for some time. The high temperature at Audubon Park today, 70 degrees after a low of 44. At New Orleans International Airport in Kennard got up to 73 degrees after a morning low of 42. Record high for the date, 80 degrees in 1962, a year that saw some record cold temperatures in January. And the record low, 24 degrees in 1963. Normals for the date, a high of 62 and a low of 46. We're above seasonal normal. Currently 55 degrees at New Orleans International Airport, humidity 74%, the barometer 30 inches even and steady, winds from the south at 7 miles an hour. No rainfall here at Channel 8 today, but there's a chance of rain for tomorrow night and Tuesday. Temperatures around the area this hour, cool, 54 degrees at Audubon Park, the same thing at Macomb, 55 at Baton Rouge, and 52 at Biloxi. Temperatures tonight will fall near 50 degrees in the city and the upper 40s in the suburbs, colder than that north of Lake Pontchartrain. Temperatures tomorrow will be mild to warm once again. Here's a satellite picture into Channel 8 just a short time ago. Some cloudiness moving into Louisiana from the north and west. Fair or partly cloudy skies in southeast Louisiana, but already cloudy in northern Louisiana. This area of cloudiness will move to the south and east. We'll pick up some of that cloud cloudiness, and we have a chance of rain for tomorrow night and Tuesday. More weather in just a moment. Today, the warmth was in the south-central states. 80 degrees at Laredo, Texas, for the highest temperature in the country. Yesterday, we saw record high temperatures in the northern Rockies and northern Plains. Today, it's the Midwest. 5 or 6 record high temperatures set in Illinois and Iowa. 52, the high at Minneapolis-St. Paul. 47 for a high at Seattle. Got up to 60 degrees at Kansas City. 57 at Dayton. 59 for a high today at Oakland, and 45 for a high today at Philadelphia. Our weather tonight, controlled by high pressure in the Gulf of Mexico, providing us with southwesterly flow.